All right, new Detroit Lions rookie is impressing everyone, and I can't wait to see him on the field. Before we get into him, though, it's something fun we've been doing. This is not sponsored or anything, but we're just summertime's here, so we're shouting out our favorite little joints that you just don't even know about. And do the same in the comments. So this is in Spring Lake, Mia's Village Eats. It just reopened, and they got subs and pizzas. That's like the pizza comes out, and you're just like, yeah, gonna eat that. Gonna eat all of that because it's like the thin crust style. So Mia's in Spring Lake, man. If you're going to be traveling to the west side of the state, you definitely want to check it out. It's an awesome place. I really like it. So let me know in the comments a place, kind of a tourist spot that you like. Sheboygan, Petoskey, Traverse City, Grand Haven, South Haven. Let me know a little spot that you like. Okay, here's the guy that, remember, the first couple picks of the draft, the Lions go defense. Then the first, I don't know if he was the first or an offensive player that we take is running back Vaky out of Utah. Remember, he's a safety, but then he goes to running back. And Brad Holmes has said things about him since we drafted him. He's been out there for rookie minicamp. He was one that was highlighted, like he stands out. And so take a look at what, first of all, here's the thing about him. In his first game as running back, right? The whole thing was he's safety, safety, safety. And Brad Holmes, I'll get to it in just a second, said, hey, we're looking at him at safety, but we can't help but notice like he jumps over at running back and he's got like all these instincts that are just so natural. Like, what the heck is this? In his first game at running back, 15 carries for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. He'd finished the year with only 42 carries and those 2 scores. So it's like, okay, well, this is kind of weird, right? Now, he did have 11 receptions and 3 more touchdowns there. So he had a total of 5 touchdowns from the backfield. And you're just kind of like, okay. But when you watch his highlights, he runs away from people. He's got great contact balance. That's one thing that Craig has taught me is contact balance. You know who didn't have contact balance? Amir Abdullah. Somehow he's still in the league too, by the way, which just goes to I think he's with the Raiders. Like, just goes to show why the Raiders are terrible. Remember Abdullah would just fall over? Just touch him. DeAndre Swift, same thing. Just constantly kind of falling over, getting tackled. Where who has great contact balance? Jahmyr Gibbs. He never falls down. Even when he gets hit, like on the sideline stuff, guys are crashing, banging. He's just standing there. It's like he never even went down. Contact balance, being able to stay on your feet is huge. Vaky has that. So in one sense, with this low usage rate, there's 2 things. It's like, well, maybe he wasn't even that good of a running back. I guess you could go, that'd be the worst case scenario. Best case scenario, he's only scratched the surface. He doesn't even know what he's doing. He doesn't have many carries, doesn't have a lot of hits on his body. We could be getting him right at the peak of something really good. Now, I'll show you the depth chart here in just a second, how he actually fits into the depth chart when it's like, well, don't we already have running backs? I'll show you how he actually fits in here. So here's what Brad Holmes said. I first saw him when we had first made the switch when they kind of were short at running back at Utah. They just had him fill in, but we're more so looking at him at safety, but he looks so natural as a runner. I was like, wait, where did he get those backyard instincts of his come from just running the ball and making those plays? Not only does he have the instincts that are more natural than we thought, he's not even majoring in it. He just did it because they're kind of shorthanded. And I was like, you need a running back? I'll help out, and started making these plays. So it's really interesting to see how a guy that you don't even know what he can do fully. And so it's like, let's go. Wow. I'm like, let's go. Let's see what he can do. He said, and so Vaky explained how by allowing Utah Proc to focus on the specific area, the Lions hope to unlock the potential he showed when working in a limited audition at running back. So this is a really interesting Brad Holmes. They traded up for him, and it's like he only had like, what was that, 45 carries or whatever. So is this a calculated risk? And it feels like one where Brad Holmes is going to flex on us again, because it's like, what are we doing? Same feeling we had when we took Sam Laporta, or at least I did. Like, what? Amon-Ra St. Brown. Who is this like little guy from USC? Yeah, it worked out. Hopefully this works out as well. So Vaky said, when I saw that, I was like, he's not even majoring and he's looking that good. And then you get more and more into this background, and he was more of an offensive player in high school. He did a lot of things on offense, but it's very impressive what he did with the ball in his hands. This says Vaky explained. I think this is Brad Holmes. He did a lot of things on the offense, but it was very impressive what he did with the ball in his hands and not just making people miss and things like that, but he runs hard. So on his pro day, he had a bad 40, but when you watch him, he's really explosive. So it's like, okay. So the Lions have a solid foundation at running back with two exceptional starters in Gibbs and Montgomery. I agree with that, but let's take a look at the depth chart. What I want to look at here is if you look at the depth chart, there's two players that can make this offense super special. And those two players are Vaky and Donovan Peoples-Jones for me. Because if Craig Reynolds, as much as we like him as a fan favorite, he's a third running back. He gets in there, he runs hard, but just straight up explosive, making plays out of the backfield. It's just not, he's not going to do that. But he's a really good third running back option, no question. But when you can add Vaky is basically a better Reynolds, now you know that one of these two guys, it's the NFL, it's the running back position. They're going to be hobbled at some point. So then if let's say Montgomery goes out, now Gibbs doesn't take 100% of the load. Vaky comes in, and now they're splitting it a little bit more, and you're keeping Gibbs healthy so that when Montgomery comes back and vice versa, the whole thing. Running back is so important to this team that now we can really spread it out if Vaky's who we think he can be. The other guy, Donovan Peoples-Jones. We know Amon-Ra, and then we think we know Jameson pretty well, right? I mean, come on. He really was figuring out the end of the year there. So if Amon-Ra and Jameson are who we think they are, Khalif Raymond's a specialty guy, but also very talented and a guy that they just like. Now, he doesn't have the size to do some of the things that Josh Reynolds did, but Khalif Raymond's very solid. But they're really needing Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'm not sure about him. I never really fully understood him at Michigan. And I was like, well, he maybe didn't have a quarterback. Let's see what he can do. Yeah, he still hasn't done it in the NFL. He's going to get an opportunity. Need you, Donovan Peoples-Jones, because you see all the other wide receivers, a lot of options. We need Donovan Peoples-Jones because after that, Sam Laporta stud, offensive line set. We got some depth now in the interior offensive line. So if Vaky can be the guy, Donovan Peoples-Jones, then the Lions are in a really good spot. And I can't wait to see what they do and how they kind of operate here going forward. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Lions are in a great position. OTAs are coming up soon. Can't wait for that. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll see all of you